Go. So, Cameron, as our dear and wise comrade, the kind Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov Lenin once said,
Yeah.
there are decades where nothing happens. However, there are weeks where really funny things happen.
Yeah, like what? What's the punchline? No, I'm just kidding. It's 'cause there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
What a
Hey,
fucking
everybody, how we all doing?
like 2-week period for us to not record during.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you guys have probably realized if you've been with us, usually around the holidays, Evan and I slow down our pace a little bit because, whatever, it's the holidays, we got stuff going on. So we haven't been with you in a little while, and in that span of time, stories have begun and stories have ended. Yeah. And some sagas are still undergoing, but they're taking directions that maybe we didn't see coming.
Unknown,
Yeah. And so, we'd like to talk to you about some of those things today.
Yeah. This is a show about those things.
This is a show about the things that are going on this November and December. Yeah. And I'm sure that the main thing that everybody's excited to talk about, or I guess in this case to hear us talk about, is the UHC assassination and the ensuing...
The absolutely batshit sequence of events that followed it.
Yeah. And it's, I'll tell you what, folks, it's been a wild ride, to say the least. Yeah. It is still ongoing. Yeah. And will likely be at the time of...
Yeah, we are recording on Monday night, December 9th. So shit has really hit the proverbial...
Yeah, today especially was a big day. Yeah. Just yesterday, folks, we were still wondering who this mystery masked man could be. Is he, as some have speculated, a rogue, leftist, vigilante, Robin Hood-esque hero looking to punish the rich for their crimes against the poor and the working class?
Is he Michael Clayton-esque cleaner or some sort of... Is this some sort of brand wars beginning inter company hit job?
A professional assassin, right.
Or is he some kind of patsy or something like that?
Right. Yeah. And I think that we are discovering now, folks, that the answer is neither.
None of the above.
He is the most boring conceivable option. On the hold on. Yeah. Let me say what I'm going to say.
Okay.
On paper, perhaps the least compelling option. However... as Evan is going to interject, within that lies many
much fruit, much fruit that is sprouting forth of the radical centrist roots.
Sure.
Anyway, but yes, I think there's two things that both you and I do want to talk about it, because I feel like that's going to take up the meat of the episode. But there's a couple other things that we should talk about. This already seems so long ago, but dude, the South Korea
Yes. Yeah. So,
which had its own wrinkle this weekend. I guess the long and the short of it is basically the South Korean president. I can't remember what's his name. Fucking
I'm bringing it up right now.
Yeah,
Yoon Suk Yeol.
Yoon Suk Yeol,
who is? I mean, so let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
There aren't many like truly like leftist or even really like liberal politicians in South Korea, right?
Yeah.
South Korea, infamously, was a right-wing dictatorship propped up by the U.S. government for a long time.
There were leftists down there at one point. They kind of got exterminated over some decades. Yeah,
but South Korea as a country, as we know it, the current iteration has never really been known as being like a particularly progressive place. However, sitting president Yoon Suk Yeol, who is actually fairly unpopular these days.
He and his wife.
Famously, about a week ago, in a bid to attempt to consolidate power in the face of mounting like distaste,
potentially impeachment proceedings.
Proceedings. So there's a lot of distaste both within the government, but also popularly. He's on the outs, right? Nobody's digging him, and he did what many politicians have attempted over the years. He said, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm doing a coup."
Didn't really get all of his ducks in a row, though.
No, he didn't plan well. And so what ended up happening is on December 3rd, he declared martial law during a televised address. And he accused the DPK, which is they actually are the majority of, they're like a centrist liberal party in South Korea.
Yeah.
And they're one of the two major political parties. And they are also, I believe, the majority in the government right now.
Yeah.
And,
he tries to do an autogolpe. He tries to do a self-coup. Yeah.
Yeah. And he basically accuses them all of being communists and of collaborating with the North, which is like the number one thing that a South Korean politician can do. It's like they're like, I heard Goody Proctor consorting with the devil. Like that's the level of accusation where it just, historically in South Korea, you mention, either defecting or collaboration with the North. It's like, it's the witch hunt code word for like, let's fucking get this guy.
Yeah, it's red baiting. Yeah, it's red baiting.
Yeah.
And he tries to do an autogolpe. Doesn't.
He ordered some arrests.
Yeah, but he doesn't. His heart wasn't in it. Didn't really seem like, you know what I mean. Yeah. He basically, so the military starts to travel, to the assembly. However, they don't really do a good job locking it down, and a bunch of MPs, members of parliament, are able to literally, like, they're climbing the fence, and some of them are like recording themselves like climbing the fences to get in there. 190 of them are able to get in there, and they vote unanimously to stop the martial law, and that is basically like this is illegal. And there's like kind of like a brief stand down where like it seems like nobody really wants to do anything. Like everybody was just kind of hoping this situation would blow over. And eventually the president, Yoon Suk Yeol, he's like, "All right, okay, you guys call me on, my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
No more martial law."
I didn't even mean it. I don't even really mean it.
You know what? It's about,
And this is, I mean, we're talking like less than like, so this happened at like 10 p.m. and by like 1 or 2 a.m.
Yeah.
He was the next day.
Yeah.
He was good. He was like,
all right, all right, yeah, maybe. Because like at this point, like the MPs are in the assembly building. And so, like, you either have to arrest them all or, like, just, like, gun them down or something, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it was just, like, clearly he was, like, hoping that they could avoid this whole thing, and I guess that everybody would just be kind of chill with him doing a self-coup. And so, for our listeners who are...
Most of his... a ton of his own ministers were like, what the fuck, bro? And so he's, like, a bunch of his own cabinet is resigning.
Yeah.
And his main opposition, who's... what is his name? Woo Won-shik, who's nominally independent, but I think seems kind of to be like, aligned with the DPK,
Yeah.
who he was a member of until recently.
Yeah.
Many are viewing this as like a coup for him, like a political coup for him, and he will likely stand for high office. And at this point, it's looking pretty good for him.
Yeah.
So
it
was silly.
Yeah, but so for our listeners at home that aren't really quite aware, when auto coup is an auto golpe, it's when you are like the elected like highest position in the country, but generally speaking, you're facing some sort of hostile legislature or parliament or whatever, and so you basically coup your own government, and then install yourself as some sort of like paramount leader that basically does not have the opposition of any sort of legislature, and basically like leads it like the front of like a military junta or something like that.
Sure.
So you coup your own government that you're the head of to consolidate your strength within it. And it basically seems like that's what he was trying to do. Gets cold feet when it doesn't really work out immediately. But then the funniest part is, he basically is just like, sorry guys, let's just forget all about this.
I won't do it again. That's what he said. He's like, I shouldn't have declared martial law.
Yeah.
I promise I'll never do that.
But then the best part is that they then hold impeachment proceedings against him, and they fail.
They don't pass, yeah. He's not getting impeached.
So it's like, dude, this is like the most Coen Brothers fucking burn after reading like situation that's ever happened.
If you ever carried out your proposed threat, you would experience such a shitstorm of consequences, my friend, that your empty little head would be spinning faster than the wheels of your Schwinn bicycle back there.
You think that's a Schwinn?
No!
Where it's like, I feel like the only thing I can think of is like the end of that movie when they're like, well, so what the fuck happened here? And they're like, we're not quite certain, sir. Well, what did we learn from this? I guess we learned not to do it again, sir. Fuck, I guess. It's just like, it's like crazy. Basically nothing happened.
Yep, we're back to square one. I mean, it definitely hurt his image, I think, and the opposition will likely benefit from this, provided they don't do something. I mean, if it's anything like the U.S., there's a good chance that they'll
fuck it up
the opportunity. But whatever. It remains to be seen. But he's apparently gonna finish out his term, which how long is that supposed to go for? I gotta look. I had it up here, but I forgot.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He got elected in 2022.
Yeah.
And
do they do 6-year terms there? I'm not sure.
President of South Korea. How long do they serve for? 5 years.
Oh,
but
5 years.
non-renewable.
Okay, yeah,
so just
so it's
one
5
5-year term.
Yep. Basically, nothing really happened overall. Nobody really got injured. Guy tried to do a coup, decided, all right, maybe I didn't plan this out all that well. Maybe if I just step back and apologize, I'll get away with it. And he did. They impeached him. It failed. So it's just like, okay, I guess that was weird, but I guess not that weird.
Godspeed, President Yoon.
Yeah.
Smooth sailing from here on out, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, it's interesting, and we'll have to keep an eye on this guy. But it seems like he's realized he maybe doesn't have the massive public support that he thought he did.
Or he just doesn't have the chutzpah. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you got to start the killings. And he didn't want the bloodshed. It's like, well, if you're not going to do the bloodshed, you can't do the military dictatorship.
The thing about coups and dictatorships is you can't be shy about cracking a few eggs.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have the drive. You didn't have the will to win.
You didn't have the sauce.
The will to win. TWTW. You know what I'm saying?
You know who wouldn't have been fucking nervous about that shit?
Well,
is Syngman Rhee.
Yeah.
Famously, there's a guy who knew
famously
how to be
he wasn't
shy
shy about that at all, and was totally down to just kill tens of thousands of his own people after millions died in a war.
Totally stoked to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, happy to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic
Syngman Rhee,
East Asian strongman.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Yeah, did your peninsula just get genocided by a foreign power? and like a quarter of the population died. Cool. Now let's work with them and kill even more.
Yep.
Like that's
an absolute gangster.
Yeah.
Oh, but hey, now I mean, look, you know, everybody can drive a Hyundai if they want.
Yeah, and work fucking
and work
3 jobs, fucking like 120 hours a week, just to survive.
Yeah, dude, they're heavy on the salaryman culture that is big in Japan as well. Like like the utter devotion to the new shogunate, which is your fucking corporate overlords.
Yeah.
I would hate to live in either of those countries.
Dude,
I'd love to go to South Korea.
You know who had thoughts about the declining populations in Japan and how to fix it? It's our boy today, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, did he want to go over there?
And dude, no, he had weird like pre-World War II Japanese trad views. Like, he made tweets about it. Anyway, but we'll get to that in a second. There's one other thing that I did want to discuss, and this is
the overthrow,
the successful overthrow of a government, which is the end of the Assad dynasty with Bashar al-Assad getting overthrown in Syria. Now, listen, the whole Syria situation is like a fucking absolute quagmire. I am certainly
because here's the thing,
it is certainly not a thing that I know as anywhere near as much about as other stuff. So I really don't want to get into it too much. I also listen. I think that we can both understand that the fall of the Bashar al-Assad government, as leftists, is not a good thing for the region or the people of Syria. But that also, really need to celebrate the dude.
That's the thing. It's tough. I mean, he's the sort of last bastion of that Ba'ath party.
Yeah.
Which was huge in Syria and Iraq.
Yeah.
They had their own branches of this pretty fascistic. But
this weird social aspect to it as well.
Sure.
There's definitely a social aspect to Baathism.
Yeah, but I don't feel like, I mean, and again, I'm also not as well read on this as other things, but Baathism, I think you're right to be wary of defending it too.
Well, yeah, and
I think at its foundation there were some genuinely like socialistic intentions.
Yeah,
but I really don't think that's what It's like Nicaragua. It's an example of like the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. There is a kind of a glorious and like genuinely praiseworthy origin story there, but it's like when like a football team moves to a new city and changes their name, but like inherits the fucking history of like an old cool team, right? It's like, yeah, you're still called that, and there were cool things that your predecessors did, but by now it's like, well, it's not.
Once the West gets in, things change, and I mean,
it's like
this is the thing about Syria. Here's the thing about Syria. The reason that the West has wanted the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime so much has to do with the geopolitical nature of Syria, its place geographically
literally
speaking.
On the map.
Yeah, on the map. It's oil, which we've been stealing from them for like decades at this point. Like the United States funds the Syrian rebels, not just the right-wing groups, but also the left-wing groups, basically everybody who's anti-Syrian government. So like the YPJ, the PKK, the YPG and the PKK, we fund both of them in some ways, or we work with them. Yeah. But then like we're like, do you think that the United States isn't running the Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorists in Syria either? Like we are. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. This is, people have been, so ever since this occurred, and this has been going on for basically since 2011, right? When there was that.
This is when it really heated.
Yeah. There was a peaceful democratic uprising calling for
spring,
Yeah, and they were calling for the resignation of Bashar al-Assad. And he basically said, absolutely fucking not, never ever, and I'll escalate to violence over this.
And part of this is because the spring, this is like the Arab Spring, this is also shit that, these are like color revolutions that the West is funding and is trying to get to, put more West-friendly people. I mean, it's the same thing like the color revolutions in the post-Soviet states, the Arab Spring and all these kinds of things. These are also like, these are attempts at regime change for Western
Absolutely.
desires. Yeah.
And what that has often looked like, particularly in the Middle East, is the United States either directly or indirectly funneling money to like jihadist organizations, and then when they successfully, get those organizations into power, one of our favorite things to do is turn around and
be like, wow, look at how much better it was before the jihadists were there.
Yeah, right. Like, so Al-Qaeda, for example, right? The Taliban as another classic example. I mean, go watch fucking Rambo 3.
Yeah.
You know who fucking John Rambo's hanging out with the whole time? Do you know who that movie's dedicated to?
Yeah. And that's actually fake.
That's
actually fake. That line at the beginning isn't real. The dedicated.
No, it is. It's been removed in subsequent.
No. It was never real.
Oh, it was never real?
Yeah, that's like one of the great like internet fucking hoaxes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it in the episode because I really believed it. And
dude, I did too until recently, and I was like, wait, that was fake? Yeah, no, that's like.
Well, but I mean, the movie really is. Rambo is really fighting with like the Mujahideen.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. It's just, it wasn't.
Largely
that message was never at the beginning of it, though. That's like a classic hoax. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so
we love funding these groups because they're radical and they are, and they're willing to fight to the last man oftentimes to accomplish,
or they're willing to be our drug runners, they're willing to be our gun runners in the region, and they're willing to sell us the oil for cheap discounts, or just let us take it ourselves. Like the United States has been just stealing Syria's oil in the east nonstop. Now, of course, there is also the issue of the Golan Heights, which is de jure, is legally a part of Syria, but de facto has been at least in part controlled by Israel for decades now at this point. And there's like a buffer zone down in the Golan Heights. And wouldn't you know it, the second Bashar al-Assad's government fell and the army retreated, like Israel's just fully invading the Golan Heights right now.
Yeah.
And is just taking territory for their Israeli Lebensraum desires. But and also, the United States is now just has no issues whatsoever in just stealing oil from the east. And also part of the reason that Bashar al-Assad was able to stay in power was basically because of of Putin in Russia.
Right.
Like, we were basically like funding him and just supplying him with like air support. So I'm not exactly sure. This is what I'm saying is like, I don't entirely know what the fuck just happened this weekend.
Well, yeah,
the last few days.
It's being touted as
Yeah.
in U.S. media as like a just revolution, which you should
Yeah.
always be skeptical at whenever you
Yeah.
fucking see that as like the official state message on anything like this
Yeah.
in the world. It's like, huh.
Suddenly,
Usually, like,
out of nowhere, rebels just like fucking took Damascus, like just like that.
right.
And
I mean, so what's funny is a huge number of these fighters are reportedly former like ISIS fighters.
yeah, ISIS and Al Qaeda, like mercenaries and terrorists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, ISIS as an organization hasn't really existed for some years now. There are still like splinter cells, but it has largely disbanded.
Yeah.
But they didn't all just disappear. They didn't all just die.
Yeah.
These are like ISIS dudes who apparently were like the worst people on earth, in 2015, and now
They're American.
they're like American assets. How
Yeah.
does that add up? Either they always were, or we're just
ding ding ding. That's what I would say. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. And like, obviously, like what people say about like the start of ISIS, that happened because of the American invasion in Iraq. Which, like,
Right.
let's just, if you just want to like look at like what the fall of the government of Iraq meant to the Iraqi people, it hasn't been so good there since then. And so like since America came to Iraq in the 90s, bad things have been happening to the Iraqi people. And
it hasn't been chill there.
yeah,
for a long
and this
time.
is not going to be good for the Syrian people because this is, I mean, their country's just about to get fucking stripped, like just ripping the copper out of the wall and shit. But I mean, yeah, Israel's just like fully invading now, and they're basically like, yeah, we're just like, and they've basically like made comments that they're like transitioning to a war on the Syrian front now, and they're obviously, and you know what, very funny timing. You and I talked about that Times of Israel article.
The Lebensraum article?
Yeah, where they literally used the word
They
Lebensraum.
use the word Lebensraum, which
For
is
those the Nazi-
who
yeah.
don't know, is like the Nazi
That's-
jargon. It means living room or living space.
It was literally it was like the casus belli for the Holocaust in the East.
Right. We need to clear out these dirty Slavs and Jews.
Yeah.
And gypsies
And Romanis, yeah.
And right. And
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I say gypsies.
Yeah.
I don't say gypsies in person.
Yeah.
In real life, but I guess
Yeah.
I do because I just said it. But
Yeah.
the Germans certainly did.
Yeah,
And make room for good Aryan Germans to
to resettle
till the rich soil of
Yeah.
Eastern Europe and
Yeah.
and reclaim our birthright as the masters of the European continent.
Yeah. Yeah, there was literally
Crazy that they went ahead and just
I
said
could not
Lebensraum,
believe
like,
that they used the term Lebensraum. It's just like, dude, you're just not you know that you're getting away with it. Like it doesn't even matter at this point. But yeah, so very funny timing that article came out right when suddenly Syria fell, like insanely quickly. Like this was just like a catastrophic collapse, and now Israel's just fully invading. Bashar al-Assad, he and his family have fled to Moscow, where they're being given asylum.
They were claiming though until literally
Yeah,
like yesterday
that he got shot down. Yeah,
No, well, not even that. The Bashar al-Assad was claiming that the government of Syria, which is now like the government in exile, was claiming that like none of this was happening and that he was still in Syria, business as usual. He was still in Damascus, not in hiding.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. This is fake news. And then everyone's like, no. Damascus has like fully fallen.
Yeah.
It's not even like there's fighting in the streets. Like the government's gone.
Yeah. Like the presidential palace was like overtaken by rebels, and they were releasing some very funny pictures of.
Classic
Bashar
like fucking statues getting torn down, shit like that. Like,
oh no, I was about to say the pictures they released of Bashar al-Assad from when he was younger.
He's a wide-hipped man,
dude. Those are some childbearing hips in that speedo,
he looks
dude.
submissive and breedable.
Like,
in that
dude,
photo.
yeah, that is so funny.
But he still had that mustache. I'm actually sad because he got rid of his mustache sometime in the last like 10 years.
Yeah,
and it was not even like 5 years.
Yeah,
and the Bashar al-Assad creep stash was like legendary.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Like he just looks like a fucking
Yeah.
white dude from like your neighborhood. Like,
Yeah. I mean, dude, he was an ophthalmologist in London when his brother died, and so he decided to come to Syria and take over the dynasty because like he was just gonna be a doctor in London, an ophthalmologist, an eye doctor.
Yep.
And then his older brother died, and he was just like, okay, I guess I'll take over the family business.
Fine, I'll be the dictator of Syria.
Yeah, right. But
hot wife though.
Yeah.
You know who else is a hot wife? The King of Jordan.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Queen Rania.
I would expect the King of Jordan to have a hot wife.
Yeah, dude. Queen Rania of Jordan is the hottest queen.
Oh, yeah. She's pretty nice with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyway, something definitely going down in the Middle East. This is, I don't know what this is. Something is happening. Is all I'm gonna say. Like this is definitely a step towards some.
We're giving
really
that
our
left unread hot must watch ongoing revolution stamp of approval. You guys should keep your eyes on this and
eyes on geography with left unread.
Yeah. I wish that we had the budget for reporters on the ground, but unfortunately we would need like 50,000 more of you to fucking subscribe on Patreon. And I'm not even sure that many of you are listening.
Yeah.
But no reason not to sign up and get us towards the goal of having on-site reporting.
Yeah. Syrian rebel correspondent.
Syria Watch 2024 with our new Middle Seas correspondent Grib Gibble.
Dale. Is that like Dale Gribble's cousin or something?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
That'd
I wasn't thinking of Dale Gribble at all.
Yeah, I was. But I'm always thinking of Dale Gribble.
Yeah. You're slowly becoming Dale Gribble.
I am.
You're slowly becoming leftist Dale Gribble.
How? In what world am I? In what way?
what a bizarre response to just like a dumb joke. In what world is that true, Cameron? I don't know, man. Like, Dale Gribble was fucking funny, quirky, handsome.
I would
had wild beliefs.
Balding, so that's more for you.
Hey, I wasn't even taking shots. I literally just called you handsome and interesting.
Yeah.
And you decided to respond to that with a pot shot.
Mm-hmm. I feel like saying that you're like becoming Dale Gribble as a pot shot personally, but
he's like the best character on that show.
Yeah, but not for like good reasons. John Redcorn would be the best character to be on that show.
Really? A homewrecker?
Well,
you want to ruin a marriage?
Okay.
With a trusting, loving husband like Dale Gribble?
Yeah, a cuckold like Dale Gribble.
Yeah, but Dale loves his wife.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He does love his son as well. He does. He's a good father.
Yeah, he raises his son. He never once questions his parentage, and he treats him right.
Yeah. Anyway. Yep.
Yeah, well, no, now we understand what kind of man you are. We understand what kind of man you idolize and what kind of man you demonize.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry I support minorities, Cameron. While you support the white man taking their land, No. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I prefer marginalized peoples. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Mostly claiming if the island
Anyway, so speaking of marginalized peoples, Americans that are subjected to the private healthcare system.
Yes.
Yeah. We need to talk about... I feel like a lot of insane things have happened in the last 5 years. I don't think that's a hot take. However, this one is in particular fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really even need to introduce what's happened. Everybody knows. I mean,
right. It happened while we were off the air.
Yeah.
You all know that the CEO of United Healthcare, one of the largest private health insurance providers in this country, in what is arguably the most fucked up healthcare sector on earth.
Yeah.
And UHC, which has far and away the best / worst track record, depending on whether you're like a fucking
shareholder or
snake or like just like an average human being.
Yeah.
At like just like blanket like denying claims of people that need help.
Yeah, I mean, famously last year, United Healthcare, it came out that they had implemented an AI to process claim denials that had
like a 60% or something.
No, so much worse. It had a 90% failure rate, incorrect rate. That is not 10% of the time it was wrong. 10% of the time it was right. So it was denying claims at a 90% incorrect rate, which they knew about and kept going with it anyway because, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, the numbers look good.
Yeah, and also, but it's just like, okay, so argue with us. And then, this is something that I have had to do multiple times in my life, is argue on the phone for hours, multiple times, over months, with private health insurance companies just to get them to pay the thing that they're supposed to pay for.
Yeah.
And, basically they do this because the entire point is to hope that you just give up and pay it yourself. This is, for our non-American listeners, this is the system that we live in. For instance... I suffered an injury a few years ago. I had United Healthcare. I had
too
insurance.
Big. It burst. It burst like a water balloon.
Yeah, my dick exploded.
It was growing at an unprecedented rate.
Yeah, tentacles.
That's why, ladies, if you're ever going out with my boy, you got to take it real slow with him. You need to keep the foreplay simple, because if you get him too aroused,
the buboes begin.
It'll pop like a fucking like an overripe zucchini.
Yeah. Anyway, and so I had to get this emergency surgery for an injury, and I had insurance that I paid a lot of money for, and I ended up having to pay about $7,500 out of pocket. Some of it was because I woke up at the end of my surgery, and the anesthesiologist, who they just wanted them to put me back under, was not in network, and so that was like an extra $1,000 on top of everything else. And just getting them to pay any of these bills was, a nightmare. And it got to a point I needed a lot of physical therapy for it. And after 20 sessions, I was still on crutches. I couldn't walk at this point. And UHC was just like, yeah, no, we're not paying for it anymore. And my physical therapist was even just shocked. And he was arguing with them and tried to talk to my doctor about it. And they were just like, no, man, we're not paying for it anymore, so fuck off. So I've had my own run-ins with United Healthcare before. Clearly not as bad as, them denying coverage that then led to people's deaths, which is something that they do. Sometimes even when they're supposed to cover the things, they'll just deny it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we live in a pretty barbaric healthcare system, which is why when this little butterball, who was the CEO of United Healthcare, was yeah, exactly. When he was walking down the street and he got tapped up from behind, you maybe did not get too much sympathy from, I would say, looking at the demographics of this country, anybody under the age of 45, I would say you probably didn't get too much sympathy from them. I feel like older, again, this is another thing about, age demographics in this country. I feel like older people still remember a time in this country when things worked. And also they generally were able to build up some sort of nest eggs and stuff like that when things worked. So, when things go bad, it's not quite as devastating as the majority of Americans under a certain age who can't even afford a $500 emergency.
Right.
And then to be denied things that you are paying for already and that you are supposed to be covered for, and then to have that denied even further. Yeah. So, I don't know. So, obviously this guy was murdered in the street like a fucking dog. Just shot in the street like a dog, and fucking the country cheered on our new savior. And there's a lot of questions about who this man was, because he very strangely got away. Obviously, we'll hit some of the he just walks up. I mean, this dude was like cold as ice. The gun kept jamming, and he's just like clearing the jams and hitting the guy again without panicking, and then just calmly walks to a bikes.
There was a lot about it to suggest that this might be a paid professional.
Right, because, this dude just walks up right behind him, starts shooting without, just no hesitation. And like I said, he had to, cock back the gun for, each individual hit. And it jammed a few times, and he didn't panic at all. He literally you can just see him bang the gun to, clear the jammed bullet out, and rechamber another one and fire again. And he seemed very calm and cool about it. He's hooded, he's masked, he's got a backpack on, gets on a bike, rides off into Central Park. And this is all in 15 minutes.
On a city bike.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a city bike. That was the thing. It was a different electric bike. So they found out that it wasn't a city bike.
Gotcha.
So he just rides off into Central Park on an electric bike and is gone at this point. Eventually, obviously, they find a backpack. After a few days, they had to do multiple rounds of grid searches. They find a backpack in there that is his backpack that was filled with fucking Monopoly money,
which is killer. It rocks.
And
he also, and I was kind of making fun of him the other day and saying that he had kind of like a Boondock Saints vibe, and Evan really shamed me for it, but I stand by it. He was doing some fucking hokey shit, and I'm not denying that it was awesome. The theatrics are cool, right?
But they were also very Reddit.
It was very Reddit, okay? And Evan was giving me a real hard time for pointing that out, because we're supposed to just say this guy rocks.
Yeah.
And it's two things can be true. He can be a fucking cornball and also have done something, awesome. And I won't specify what the awesome thing I think he did was.
Yeah.
But at least one thing that this guy did in his life was cool.
Yeah.
Which is likely to be true about anybody.
Yeah. But also, he had written deny.
Yes. He carved shit into the fucking shell casings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's some Veritas Equitas shit.
Yeah.
But
which were supposed to be references to how the health insurance industry denies claims.
Yeah, and how they come back, right? Lawyer up, hit the gym, delete Facebook. It's their version of that.
Yeah, and so there's that on the bullets. He wrote those on the bullets. And then he has a backpack in Central Park that's filled with Monopoly money and a jacket. Which is also, and this is one of the things that, people's reaction to it, I understand people were, making fun of, this guy's a different jacket. He's a different jacket on. It's there's a totally different guy who's got a different jacket. It's okay, I assumed that would be what was in the backpack, would be a change of clothes. So that, you go off to hide somewhere and you change your clothes, and now you look like a totally different person. So, that's clearly what he did. It turns out that this man had been, at least so, a disclaimer, everything we're saying here is alleged.
Yeah.
And also, we're going by the New York NYPD's series of events, so take this with a grain of salt. Who knows?
Yeah, their account of events is what the public has access to.
Yeah,
sure.
And I would say you should always question that. But at least according to their version of events, he had been staying in New York for a week and a half before this at a hostel. Which I wonder about. I'm wondering, did he try to do this to make it seem like he didn't just go right to New York to do this or something like that? I don't know. Trying to think why he would do it.
Maybe he just hadn't spent much time in the city.
Yeah. So we'll also get stuff. It seems like he may have been having, believe it or not, a guy who guns down another dude like a dog in the street is probably not suffering from such great mental thoughts.
Yeah, he was going through a hard time.
Yeah.
I think there were lots of us who were hoping that this was some totally with it patriot who was but let's be honest, the reality is, and for me some of the early clues were the fucking words on the shell casings, the Monopoly money backpack. These are awesome things, but they're also not a sign that this is a totally with it person, right? This is somebody with some antisocial tendencies who's clearly
going through something,
going through it.
Yeah.
Going through it. And especially now knowing what we know about his alleged identity.
Yeah.
It's okay. things are not adding up.
Yeah, he's got like people tweet, like his personal friends tweeting at him like, hey man, your family's worried about you. We haven't heard from you for months. Are you just like don't have service somewhere? Like people love you, your family loves you and stuff like that. Yeah. It's like what? So clearly, I mean, he was off the deep end, and I think his people in his life maybe knew. Allegedly, again, everything we're saying in this episode is alleged.
I don't know.
What it turns out is it seemed like he was staying in a hostel in Manhattan for about a week and a half before. Morning of, goes, gets a coffee. He's just real chill about it. Drinks his coffee from Starbucks. Guns this dude down again like a fucking barn animal. And then he takes off, goes into Central Park, gets out of there, takes a taxi. We don't know what happened to his bike. I'm guessing he probably threw it in the water somewhere. I don't know.
Like, just fucking tossing bikes in the river, bro.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. While he was tossing the bike, why didn't he toss the fucking gun?
Or like, yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so we'll get
everything involved should have been in a river. Different rivers. Even better.
Yeah. But so this guy, then he gets out, he takes a taxi to a train station or a bus station. Bus station, he's gone. We don't know where he is. Eventually, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, comes out, former cop himself. He's saying things over the weekend like, oh yeah, we're feeling real confident about the work that we're doing, all that kind of stuff. Yada, yada, yada. Comes out today. So he had apparently been using fake IDs in New York City. Again, this is what the police were saying, that he had been using a series of fake IDs in New York City. He gets arrested today. Or not arrested. Taken into custody. And fucking Altoona...
he hasn't been charged yet, as far as we know.
Yeah, we'll get it.
So, as of 6 o'clock p.m. on
taken into custody in Altoona, fucking Pennsylvania. At a McDonald's in the morning in rural Pennsylvania. And
where a concerned citizen is most likely to be.
And apparently was an elderly employee of the McDonald's, I'm seeing. Listen, this is an official Left Unread tip. If you're going to commit some kind of act,
any act,
where your face is plastered on cable news 24/7. Yeah. I don't care if the event happened in Bangor, Maine, and you're in fucking Santa Fe, New Mexico. If a bored fucking elderly person whose brain has been getting scrambled by cable news with your face for 24 hours a day for 5 days, if they think that they even kind of may have just seen you, they are going to call the cops.
Yeah.
And they're going to think that they just saw you. So this is an official Left Unread tip. If you do something where your face is plastered on cable news 24/7, do not go to rural Pennsylvania to a McDonald's to get a fucking McGriddle or something in the morning.
He was dressed like the same way he was when he... That's the thing. It's like, nobody knew what this guy's face looked like.
Well, they kind of did because they were showing the picture without it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when he was in the hostel. But it's like, dude, a fucking old person is going to be there and they're going to fucking recognize you. Like, what else do you think a bored old person at a McDonald's at 9 in the morning has to do with their life?
Yeah, or here's the thing. Go in, order, and go fucking eat outside. You can be cold.
Yeah. Go through the drive-thru.
You just killed a guy. You can be fucking cold.
Brother, don't go to McDonald's in fucking rural Pennsylvania. Man, go to fucking Baltimore or something. Like, go to another city. Like, do not fucking go to the rural fucking, like... old people, right-wing country. You know what I mean? Where these people are not going to be very chill with what transpired here. They're going to take the side of the insurance executive. Like, you know what I mean? Go to Portland, Oregon. You'll probably do okay there.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Go to fucking Burlington, Vermont. Don't go to fucking Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Dude, go to fucking Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess get out of here.
I get out there because they're looking through all the CCTV in that city.
Yeah.
Just don't
go to Chicago. I was just in Chicago. It's a great time.
Yeah. Just don't go to Altoona, Pennsylvania. And
also I'm mad at it, and we should have known with this guy because he did go to Starbucks, and that's the meme, It's like, brother, we're not. If he was a cool leftist, it's like, brother, we're not doing Starbucks. You know that.
The boycott. Yeah.
Come on, man. The boycott.
Yeah.
I was just in Chicago. There were 5 Starbucks visible from the front door of my hotel. Like
Jesus.
Within half a mile.
Yeah.
I went to Stan's Donuts, brother.
Nice.
I'm a Stan. Is it good coffee? Nah. But it ain't Starbucks. You know where I was also
Coffee's
near?
utilitarian.
The largest Starbucks on Earth is in Chicago, right in downtown Chicago. 5 floors.
What the fuck?
I didn't set foot in that bitch.
Why is it 5 floors?
Why wouldn't it be 5 floors?
It's a fucking coffee place.
Yeah. Well. So here's the thing. I disagree that coffee has to be coffee doesn't have to be utilitarian.
Yeah, it doesn't. But
coffee can be delicious and gourmet, but it can be utilitarian. And
but
like
that has
nice
to be a
hot
treat.
drip
That has
coffee.
to be a treat. You can't do that every day.
No, you can make that at your house.
Yeah.
For
Black
cheap.
coffee.
Yeah, delicious black coffee. I'm not talking about,
Yeah.
when I say gourmet, I'm talking about nice beans, sustainably sourced, prepared right.
Mm-hmm.
Always black coffee.
Yeah.
I'm not hating
Once
on
in a
anybody
while,
for
if
doing-
I'm drinking a coffee as a dessert, like after dinner, once in a while, I'll do a little cream sugar or a little milk and sugar, like just a little bit as a dessert.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you can't do that.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
I'm saying
99.99%
of the coffees I drink are black.
I just like it.
Yeah,
It's not a hardo thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do what feels best to you. But I'm saying a coffee can be delicious and gourmet regardless of whether you have accoutrements for it.
Now, anyway, as it turns out, allegedly the guy who did this crime, he is not some based epic Chungus leftist.
No.
He is not, I mean, maybe he's a patsy. Maybe he's some MK
Wouldn't be the
Ultra
first time.
corporate assassin.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But what it looks like is
He's
that he is some epic fucking Ivy League bisexual computer genius fucking like programmer Peter Thielite, like
pretty much like politically neutral.
Yeah, like there were left-wing things and there were right-wing things.
Yeah,
I
not a Trump guy, but
not
like
moderate. He's not moderate, but the average is moderate.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's got
into
this,
Jordan Peterson, but doesn't like blindly follow him.
Yeah, he like criticized Jordan Peterson. He loves Peter Thiel and the Peter Thielites. Like he's a fan at least
probably
at
a
one
Rogan
time
guy.
of Elon Musk. Yeah, I think he likes Rogan, but he also like espouses and he's like really into like.
You know who he seems like? He seems like an Andrew Yang guy.
Yeah, man, I don't know, but he's like super into like AI program. Like and early on, like he was like writing and talking about like AI and like the AI revolution like years ago, like in the teens. But he's like some kind of like computer like whiz. Like he went to University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League school, for like you know some kind of like a computer degree there.
Whatever, yeah.
He was like worked as a programmer. This guy's like masters.
He's also
like
shredded
out of his fucking mind.
like, and he
shredded.
looks like he's natty too. He's like
Yeah.
peak physical form for someone who's probably not juicing.
Yeah, and like so like his
So clearly,
Goodreads,
like,
the
has
thing
all
is,
the
he
things
has
going for him.
the reason we know is because he has a massive social media footprint. I mean, he's got this like extensive Goodreads account where like he's reading tons of self-help books. What it appears like is he also broke his back out while hiking one day. So he's got this like picture of him with these gnarly ass fucking screws, much like the ones I have in my leg. He's got them in his back. And a lot of the books that he read and like on Goodreads and stuff like that are like books on how to deal with like back pain and stuff like that. And it seems like he had some sort of botched surgery that was insanely expensive. And that he was having a difficult time dealing with the pain of, didn't want to get addicted to painkillers, started getting into like psychedelics and then like researching psychedelics as like medicine. He also, his top favorite book on Goodreads is The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. And he also,
Which honestly, sick book choice.
yeah. And he also has a 4-star review of the Unabomber Manifesto.
Yes. He's also read a couple of books by Steve-O.
Yeah. He reads like a lot of like non-fiction, like self-help and stuff.
Yeah.
He's read a few books about like Elon Musk and stuff like that. So that's what we're saying. It's like really, but then like you read the actual things he's writing, and he's definitely criticizing like capitalism, but it's like in terms of ideology, he's not an ideologue. Seems in any way, I would say he would be more right wing, but like almost like right wing anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
As opposed to like left wing anti-capitalist. There's certainly no ideological basis for like his stuff, but it's like one of these general people that like they can tell that there's something wrong with the system, but they don't have like the tools to like accurately criticize it or whatever, and so like you end up with this.
I don't know, man.
Okay,
he had the tools, man.
He didn't have the theory, but I'll tell you what, he did the praxis.
He had the drive and he had the ambition.
No.
And you know, Evan and I will not. We're gonna go on the record officially as saying that we would never say that you should do what he did.
Yeah,
I would never say that.
I would never say that.
Oh. Yeah, I would never say that.
Yeah, I will definitely sit there and go, nice, when I read about it. Yeah. But I mean,
but if you were the type of guy who was into that sort of thing and thought that it was a good thing that happened, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, maybe not the the hero that we were hoping for, but certainly
the one we
needed.
deserve. Yeah,
deserve or needed.
Yeah. I mean, dude, just
I hope that
Sorry, go.
No, I was just going to say, there were some things that came out of this that I hope endure the meme cycle of discovering who he is. First of all, I think it's probably for the best that, so is his name, this alleged suspect.
Should we say his name? I don't know. I'm not sure we should say his name.
Why?
I mean, I guess maybe. I don't know. I just
doesn't matter. It's in the news. We're talking about a news article.
All right, I guess, yeah.
So the person that they've arrested is named Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, Luigi's Mangione.
That's the person they've arrested.
Yeah.
Or that's been taken into that's the person all the memes are about.
And the whole time I saw that, I could literally only picture specifically King of the Hill version of Chuck Mangione.
Yeah. It feels so good.
Yeah.
To knock off a healthcare CEO.
Like I just kept thinking of the episode where they catch him living in the Megalomar.
Yeah. That show was always great because it would, anytime there was like because that was actually Chuck Mangione who did the voice of himself on that show.
Yeah, and was like throughout the whole history of the show.
Yeah, and it's like they were good about getting like they had some big time celebrities on that show.
Matthew
too.
McConaughey
was
on.
Petty was Matthew McConaughey was on there, in like repeat roles, but they would also get like way lesser known people to be on the show and kind of propelled them to stardom. Like I would be willing to bet that Chuck Mangione had to have at least doubled his reach as a minor celebrity through King of the Hill.
Yeah, for being on like a primetime Fox.
Because he's like a jazz cornet player.
Yeah.
Like he's he's not like the most well-known guy.
Yeah, he's not even Kenny G. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, he's playing an alternative brass instrument for sure.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with this potential arrest. But I do think that something that's interesting, maybe the most interesting thing that's come out of this, is that it's really highlighted for lots of people on the left and the right the very obvious grift that we're continually subjected to by people like Ben Shapiro, who obviously jumped on this immediately and were like, look at what the radical left wants. Yeah. Well, look who just got arrested. That's no radical
That dude
leftist.
is retweeting a lot of Peter Thiel.
Yeah, guy might have seems like he might have been kind of compelled.
Peter Thiel is basically the puppet master for the entire right at this point. Yeah,
right. And there was a huge influx of comments like, "Oh my god, like I just realized you're a fucking liar."
Yeah,
because you know what? You know who hates the American healthcare system? Basically everybody.
Everybody. That's the thing.
Everybody. The only people that don't are looking over their shoulders right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I think that people in positions of power like this should always be aware that they are fallible.
I mean, yeah, I just think to that scene from Starship Troopers where Dookie Howser goes up to the brain bug and he puts his hand on it and he's like, "It's afraid."
Yeah.
That's how I think about it,
Oh, we're coming close. That's, I feel like, the vision of the future that is like most likely to occur.
Fascism, yeah.
Yeah, just like if we even come close to anything resembling like a social utopia, it'll be like a fascistic one. It won't be
fascist,
like it won't be like a fucking like cool Star Trek future. Which, by the way, as a little tail end thing here, I have finally been I've made my most legitimate attempt at TNG ever, and I'm like 7 or 8 episodes into season 2, and I know that the best stuff is coming, but
3 is when you.
Yeah,
with the return of Beverly Crusher and get rid of that awful Linda Pulaski.
I'm okay with Pulaski. I know that she's like hated, but as I'm watching it in real time, like I liked season 1. I know that it's the least
me too.
I
liked it too. It's super rough, but it's like I like it too.
It's hokey.
Yeah.
I've seen that it gets compared a lot to the original series, which is dated and tacky and.
Yeah, I've actually...
From what I understand, the high sci-fi concept episodes kind of diminish as, like, the character arc episodes take precedent, which is cool. I'm excited for that. But, dude, like, the fucking Sherlock Holmes episode with fucking Data and Geordi, like, that's a bromance that I can get behind any day.
Yeah.
I feel like you and I are kind of like Data and Geordi, you know?
Okay.
Do you want to know which one's which?
No, I don't even want to know.
I know. I don't actually think either one of us is particularly like either one of those guys.
I agree.
two male friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I like it. It's charming. And so
I'm actually
already,
making my most headway into the original series right now. I'm almost done with season 1 of the original series.
There's 3?
There's 3, but they're like 30 something episode seasons. There are 3 seasons for that one, and I mean it's good. There's definitely
are they an hour or 45 minutes apiece too? Like,
well, they're more than that because it's 60, so they're like over 50 minutes each. There's like less than 10 minutes of commercials back then, so I know it's crazy. So like there's definitely some stinkers in the original series. There's some really good episodes. I mean, honestly, dude, the Khan episode hits fucking hard.
Yeah,
I mean, it is sexist as hell. But it's also the 1960s. In general, the show is sexist as hell, but that episode in particular is sexist as hell, and you're just like, damn, dude. Like you're just watching, like, oh man, this is dirty. Like,
and you know what? It's funny because TNG was like late 80s through early 90s, and you can tell in their first season, their like best attempt at like swinging back at that was like, what if the planet of fucking sexists was all women? You know, but they're literally just like doing.
They got the
like
little boy toys,
yeah, they're just doing like right, dude. There's little like fuckable bottom boys like all over this planet of like tall, hot, strong women.
Yeah, it's like these
just, like,
Amazonian women just fucking grinding these dudes into the fucking dirt. Yeah, dude.
And I know that's one of the most despised episodes of the series, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. I like all the stinkers. There are also some legitimately like really great episodes in season 1.
There is, but then TNG is also funny because it's like, was it like episode 2 where they all get that horny virus basically, and like immediately fucking Tasha Yar is just banging the android.
Yeah,
I
was kind of sad that Tasha Yar got killed off.
Yeah.
She was she was all right. It does leave room for Worf to be in the show more, though, which is I support that.
There is some sort of contractual thing going on there too. However, she does come back. Not Tasha Yar, but the actress.
Yeah,
she plays a recurring Romulan, and she's even hotter as a Romulan. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So she has a recurring role throughout the rest of the series, which comes back as a Romulan. And she's nice.
I'm excited for the Borg. Do they show up at the end of season 2?
I don't remember. I think that's more like 4, maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, when you meet Locutus of Borg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Locutus looks just like Jean-Luc Picard, right?
It is him. It's him assimilated.
Yeah.
It's Jean-Luc Picard assimilated, and he becomes Locutus of Borg. Yeah. Dude, it's really funny. So, like, Gene Roddenberry's a fucking moron. Like, the guy who, like, created the series.
Yeah.
Like, so, like...
He's like George Lucas, dude. He's a great concept man.
Yeah.
Don't let him be in charge of anything.
So here's the thing. He, like, hates balding or did. He's long dead now. But he hated balding and bald men and non-hairy men. Like, this is, like, a recurring thing. So, like... William Shatner was apparently, like, already... Like, this is, like, an open secret, but, like, his hair was thinning by the time... he got cast. And I mean, like, William Shatner in the original series, that is like a 10 out of 10 man. Like, that is just, like, as handsome as you could possibly be as a man. However, he was already, like, thinning, and so they had to, like, have some elaborate 60s, like, stuff going on there to cover that up.
Sean Connery was bald when he played fucking James Bond.
Yeah. Now, so for season 2, when Pavel Chekhov becomes a character, he was also had his hair thinning. But since he was a background character, they decided to give him a much crazier looking hairpiece. And so, like, that hair that you see with him is a hairpiece. I assume James Doohan as Montgomery Scott, that is also not his real hair. The, like, emo haircut that he has.
Yeah.
But, so then when it came to fucking, The Next Generation, by this point, Gene Roddenberry basically had, like, no creative control anymore. However, he was still involved.
You mean to tell me that this is a wig?
Yeah. Look at that thing, dude. But that is a much less good hairpiece than what fucking William Shatner had.
Yeah.
Because William Shatner, you can't tell that's a hairpiece, but or you're like, he was just thinning, so that some stuff. But fucking when it came to The Next Generation, Gene Roddenberry attempted to nix Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard.
Can you imagine, like, a more fucking, like, devastating choice? I mean, I feel like
he is the face.
He is Star Trek at this point.
Yeah, he is. He is the face of Star Trek. Even still, to this point, he is the face of Star Trek.
Why do you think they had to bring back Picard?
Yeah.
Because they were like, you know what, dude?
Nobody else has
IP
the fucking...
is, like, floundering.
The Stenorian
people are
fucking
like,
voice.
Bring back the fucking bald man. We want him.
The guy, the fucking Shakespearean actor with the fucking Stenorian voice and shit. Like,
dude, he is the ultimate fucking masculine ideal in this show. He is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's maybe not always the most complex character in that. Like, I feel like you can always count on Jean-Luc Picard to be like the voice of reason, the fucking, just the guy who's gonna. He's the closer.
Yeah.
You know, they'll send out an away team and like whatever. Yeah. But if the shit really hits the fan,
fucks up in some way.
If Riker fucks up, which Riker's awesome too. Like, I fucking love Riker.
Yeah, Riker is supposed to be like Captain Kirk,
right? Because he's the one who's always having the love affairs and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And Picard is above it. He's like, no, man, I'm saving it for marriage.
Yeah, he is the Volcel god. But yeah, dude, he tried to nix that because he was like, no, Jean-Luc Picard has to be hairy as hell. And everybody had to be like, all right, Grandpa, let's get you to bed. Like, we've got a chance to get a Shakespearean actor to play fucking
which, like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk was not.
Yeah, and apparently Sir Ian McKellen even tried to talk Patrick Stewart out of it. He's like, why are you doing this? Like, he was like, you don't need to do Star Trek. Come on, man. And Patrick Stewart was like, nah, I think I'm going to. It's also funny when you listen to stuff too, like, and you can definitely tell, especially with like Picard, that like Patrick Stewart said that like by the end of Star Trek there, he didn't know like where Jean-Luc Picard ended and he himself began. He was like, over time, like, because like the way that he acted for that, he was like, over time, like, I just stopped being able to tell which was me and which was him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I started taking on more aspects of Jean-Luc Picard. And then Jean-Luc Picard would start taking on more aspects of Patrick Stewart when they did the show Picard.
Yeah.
Because, like, Patrick Stewart, famously, he, like, breeds, like, big-ass fucking pit bulls. And so, in Picard, like, Jean-Luc Picard has, like, these big fucking pit bulls. And also, Patrick Stewart, famously, is into younger women. Not, like, young women, but, like, women a few decades younger than his 80-year-old self. And, like, so his, like, love interests in Picard are, like, 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Cradle Robin with a bunch of fucking milfs.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Which, half your age plus 7, so,
Yeah, they're just children. Like, I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, yeah, so I guess that's that. Yeah, so fucking crazy ass week. Some crazy shit has happened. And fuck, man. The fuck you gonna do about it?
Me personally, nothing. This is usually what I do about it.
Yeah, so anyway,
you ever think how so there's this one little donut on Dunkin' Donuts cups, the white one, you see the little one, it looks like a butthole.
You always with buttholes with you.
That
yeah.
one.
Yeah. Okay, stop fingering it, man.
That one right there.
Come on, stop. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Please stop. Please.
What about the butthole?
No, I just said, have you ever noticed it?
No. I don't think about buttholes as much as you do.
All right, man.
Anyway, so we appreciate you guys sticking around for this brief hiatus. We plan to get you a second episode out this week, later this week. So hopefully you see that coming through your feed on Friday, just to pay you back for the, sticking by us.
Yep.
And if you like the podcast and you'd like to support us, you can support us on Patreon. You can commit some small monthly amount to help keep the podcast going. So you can, if you use an Apple product and you haven't signed up yet, don't go through the app. Just go to www.patreon.com /leftunread. That way, if you sign up through there, you won't be charged by Apple this insane surcharge that they put on top. Just for being on the Apple store. But if you sign up, if you use an Android or whatever, you can just go through the app there. That's fine. But if you can't support us on there, you can support us in other ways. We spread by word of mouth, so you can tell your family, tell your friends about us. You can write it on the bullets as you commit some act of anti-capitalist aggression against a target.
Oh my god! Don't do that.
Yeah, parody.
This is satire.
Satire, parody. Yeah, so don't do that. But yeah, tell the police when they interrogate you which podcast you got your ideas from. And other than that, you can rate and review us on your podcast app of choice. That helps us get boosted in the algorithm, find new listeners. And other than that, I would say left unread, all of our beautiful unread heads, our agents, both foreign and domestic, stand back and stand by. So we'll be back with you later again this week.
Yep.
On another Left Unread.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
They want you to fade into the background. Don't stand out. All the things that beings from the hills have been shot down. Get on your knees. You know you want to. Why don't you get on your knees? Get on your knees. You know you want to. We become the nation.
there.
You think that's a Schwinn?
No!